While watching Succession, it's easy to get caught up in the lies, betrayal, and comedy of this brilliant show. It's just so expertly written, directed, and acted that its technical prowess and visual mastery is subconsciously easy to miss. But the way this show looks and moves is such a key element to why it works, and it just might be one of the best looking shows HBO has ever produced. Your brain registers that the show looks good, but its shaky handheld nature creates a bit of a visual distortion field. A basic interpretation of the show's visual language is to call it pseudo-doc, due to its crash zooms and shaky cam, but I think this severely diminishes the amount of thought and intention that goes into the cinematography. You see, this is a show that is all about deception, and just like the characters, Succession cinematography tricks you into thinking it's loose and reactive, but never for a second think that shots like this are anything but masterfully crafted. I noticed during the show's arguably best episode, one of the main things that I think makes the visuals work so well. It's the blocking, or more simply, the position between the camera, the characters, and objects within the frame. Blocking allows you to understand power dynamics and relationships between characters, along with the significance of objects within a frame. It's the job of the director and a cinematographer to block a scene, to position things exactly where they want them. If this was a real documentary, the camera operators would have no control over where people move. Everything would be reactive. But this is scripted television, so they can decide exactly who goes where and why, to craft a frame that is exactly the way they want it. Take this scene when Shiv is talking to reporters. Kendall and Roman are standing behind her so both can be seen in the wide shot. A simple frame. But when they cut to a close-up of Shiv, Kendall and Roman are now touching shoulders. They were deliberately moved here so that Kendall wouldn't be covered by Shiv's head. This is the intentionality of the framing, and it's just one example of hundreds of micro decisions like this that happen every episode. Decisions your brain doesn't even pick up on, but they all amalgamate to the show's beauty. Even takes that seem like long, uninterrupted sequences are all rehearsed and shot multiple times, just to get the timing right. While you're watching the show, pay close attention to the sequences of events and how people come in and out of frames, how characters answer phone calls, how extras move in the background. This stuff blows my mind because it comes off so perfectly natural, but anyone that's ever shot scripted TV or film knows this is insanely time-consuming. In fact, it's probably even more difficult than normal cinematography because not only do you have to block your actors, your camera operators have to know when to do their zooms, when to move, when to punch in, when to move back. All of the focus pulls have to be timed perfectly. So then you might be wondering, how do they make it feel so spontaneous? We're going to dive into that right after this quick sponsor break from Storyblocks. Are you looking for a one-stop shop for all of your video creation needs? Well, look no further than Storyblocks. With over 1 million 4K HD footage clips, templates, music, sound effects, images, and more, their curated professional content is the perfect way to make your videos stand out. I also think it's a fun way to mock storyboards for your videos and even block a scene using stock footage. That way you can share this with your cast, crew, or client to show exactly what you're going to create. And with unlimited downloads, you can experiment with different effects, clips, and tracks to bring your creative vision to life. Plus, new content is regularly added so you can always stay current with trends and news. Storyblocks also offers predictable subscription costs with their unlimited library for one set price. No more expensive pay-per-clip pricing or hidden fees. And with their clear-cut licensing and comprehensive coverage, you can create with confidence knowing you're fully covered. So head over to storyblocks.com/Patrick Tomasso or scan this QR code to sign up today. Sponsors like Storyblocks let me make videos like this, so thank you to them for sponsoring this video and to you for watching. Let's get back to the video. Now, despite all the planning and preparation that goes into the blocking for the cinematography in Succession, there's also room for spontaneity. The show employs a technique called the free take, which allows the camera operators to capture spontaneous reactive moments that might not have been planned.
We have these camera operators, we used to do, and we didn't do it so much where we would do a take for the camera operators. So we used to do this freebie, which was for the actors.
Yeah.
And then we would do one for the operators, and they would pick up the most extraordinary things that would get used in the show.
After these free takes, you got to think about how crazy it is to get into the edit, because now you have all this perfectly rehearsed and blocked sequences. On top of that, you now have all these free handheld shaky zoom stuff that you need to mix perfectly together to give it that spontaneity and naturalistic feel. They're making cinematography decisions even in post, which is unlike any other show on TV right now. They even took this concept to the extreme in season 4 with Connor's wedding, running the entire sequence of events following Logan's death in real time like a play.
We thought, what if we actually ran that whole sequence as one once we've done everything else?
A challenge that was further complicated by the fact that Succession shoots on film.
We can only shoot for 10 minutes, and then the camera needs to be physically reloaded with the new roll of film. So the camera operators worked on this idea of basically hiding rolls of film around the set and hiding a third camera body, doing super fast reloads so that one camera would always be running so they wouldn't have to reload at the same time. And I think a massive percentage of that ended up being in the final cut.
And when it comes to lighting, you got to think about how they have to block a scene. Lights have to come from essentially one or two sources so that you can move that camera freely throughout the room and people are still lit properly. And we need to talk more about how this show is shot on film. Very few TV shows are shot on film anymore due to the cost and the increased difficulty of working with actual celluloid. And I'm not someone that typically argues that film is better than digital, especially in a show with a visual format that would be so much easier to shoot digitally. But I have to admit that the color palette of Succession is gorgeous. The show is shot on Kodak Vision 3 500T, and in conjunction with very carefully planned art direction and wardrobe, the pale and metal-like quality of the character suits and office furniture really contrasts well with how this film stock warms up skin tones with reds and oranges. I actually wonder if they took any visual inspiration from Roger Deakins' work in The Company Men. Roger shot it on the same Kodak 500T, and it's also about office bureaucracy and politics in America. It's not the best movie, but if you're into the look of Succession, I think you'll really enjoy Roger's work in this film. But all of this is to say that even though Succession looks simple and loosely shot like a handheld haphazard documentary, that just isn't true. Succession is a well-crafted, masterfully framed and filmed work of television that deserves immense praise for its ability to trick you into thinking it's all voyeuristic rather than calculated. Just like the characters in the show, the filmmakers have never truly revealed all of their cards to the audience. Everything you see is only what they want you to see, and that is precisely why it looks so damn good. Without a doubt, I think Succession is the best show on TV right now, and we live in a world where there is a lot of great prestige TV online. And I don't want to ruin your viewing enjoyment of a show by breaking it down or overanalyzing it, but I think once you start to pick up on how crazy it is and how intricate all of the blocking and details are in an episode of Succession, you just start to like the show even more, because not only is it well written and acted, it's also well made and shot. And so it all kind of encompasses into this great, brilliant, masterful piece of work. I am sad that it's ending, but I'm also happy that it's ending on a high note. But thank you again to Storyblocks for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching. My name's Patrick, and you will see or hear me next time I feel like making a video. Cheers.